unfortunately I had to turn them away or offer them a different service. So it's just gonna cover you. This is just to like make sure that you're lowering the potential risks of your service, and that everything that happens in this treatment room is your responsibility. So these questions are really gonna just help to cover your butt more. Hey there beauties, it's your girl Kristen here. I'm a licensed esthetician, an educator, mentor, a YouTuber, and a mom. Make sure you scroll through my channel and see what I'm about. I've been doing a ton of videos for you, from facials, skincare, to entrepreneurship. I've been sharing with you my real and raw journey as a solo esthetician. Now being in my own practice for about 15 months, it has been amazing to share with you all the details that went into it. I will continue to strive to give you the type of content that will continue to help you in your own journey. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you're also an esthetician. Maybe you're in beauty school right now, that's all welcome here. Comment below and introduce yourself. I'd love to know where you're at in your journey and how I can help you and what you hope to gain from my channel. I do new videos every Monday for you, so that's what you can expect from me. And I'm also offering new online courses, so if you haven't already checked those out, I'm offering a lash lift course, a brow shaping course, and I'm currently working on a new online series called the Going Solo series. And it's gonna be geared toward you estheticians who are out there who want to be solo and how to open up a practice from point A to point Z. I'm going to be listing it all out for you. I've recorded hours of content for this online course, and I plan to launch it by January 1st, 2022. Make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you clicked on this video, good job. I'm sure you're excited to hear the information I have to share with you. We're going to be talking about mastering the client intake for your service. Now, this is going to be a very important part of, first of all, making a great impression on your new clients, but also to make sure you're performing safe and effective services. We're going to be going over how I intake my guests, first-time guests, even continued guests. I do have my confidential intake form here that I'll be going through with you guys in detail. I know you guys have requested this. This is going to be a part of my continuing education series here on YouTube. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, grab a pen and paper, and continue watching. Thank you so much for continuing to watch this video. I promise you'll be getting some valuable information from this. This is going to be one part of a continuing education series for estheticians that I plan on doing here on YouTube. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video if you're already excited, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So of course I have my handy dandy clipboard here. I have a pen and my liability waiver. So some of the questions that I've gotten in the past about the liability waiver that I have is, should you do it paper or electronically? And that is totally up to you. If you want to be all fancy with it and do an iPad, have them sign it digitally, that totally works. I guess I'm just used to the old school way of doing pen and paper, having them physically sign something. I feel like, to me, it just feels a little bit more real doing it that way, even though yes, it is still considered real to do it online, but just, I don't know, this is what I was used to doing in the spa. I just honestly feel like it's what works for me right now, and maybe at some point I will upgrade to an electronic form, but I'm gonna leave that up to you. And also, you might be wondering where I got this form. Me and my assistant worked on this particular liability waiver, so it is not something that you can download. If you decide to come and take a training with me at any point, you will have access to this waiver. Me and my assistant, we formulated this particular waiver on Pages. You can also do it on Google Docs, save it as a PDF, and then there you go. It's pretty simple. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Yes, I did put my logo on there. I put the title on there. It's cute, it's pink, but at the end of the day, it's a liability waiver, so it doesn't need to be fancy. Hopefully the information that I'm going to be giving to you right now is going to help you to formulate perhaps your waiver, or if you already have one, you can kind of like cross things out or modify it. However you want to do that is totally up to you. And remember, the things that I'm sharing with you are based off my knowledge, off my experience, and it's not set in stone. So if there's something else that maybe I'm missing in this video or you'd like to add, feel free to comment below. Let our community know. Okay, so what is the very first thing that you would think would be important at the beginning of a client intake? I'm gonna let you think about that for a sec and comment below. Comment below what you think should be the very first thing that you are doing in your intake. Did you do it? Come on, comment right now. All right, so very first thing is you want to welcome your guest with a warm smile. Make sure you are, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what you just dealt with the morning before, we need to put that aside. We need to be emulating positive energy, warm, a welcoming energy, and that starts off with just having a genuine smile on your face. And also using their name. You want to address your guests by their name. It doesn't matter if they're your first time guests or a continuing guest. People like to be called by their name. So instead of saying, hey love, or hey doll, I mean, I find myself doing that a lot, but it's so much more personal when you can say, hey Stephanie, hey Cassie, how are you doing? Number one, welcome them with a warm smile, greet them by their name. And number two, you're gonna be confirming which service they're here for. Sometimes this has happened before where somebody thought maybe they booked a wax with their service, or maybe they booked an 80-minute facial versus a 50-minute. So it'd be good to include a confirmation of what service they're receiving along with how long the service should be. Pretend you're a person, and I'm gonna run through just the couple points that I just made right now. So take one. Hi, are you Stephanie? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Kristen. Thank you so much for coming. You're here for the 50-minute classic facial? Okay, perfect. See? As simple as that. Confirm their name, smile, and what service and length of service that they're getting. Next thing that you want to go over with them is their medical history. There could be a huge list of things under medical history, but I find that there's a few particular things that you want to make sure that you're confirming with your guests. Number one is skin conditions or acne, and are they things that they're being treated for by a dermatologist, such as eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, things like that. And the next thing that we would want to confirm with them is if they're pregnant or trying to get pregnant. Sometimes people aren't even aware that they're pregnant, but it'd be good to know even if they're actively trying to get pregnant, because you still want to go about the service as if they are pregnant, because they might not even know that they're pregnant yet. So you definitely don't want to be doing something that's going to compromise their pregnancy or potential pregnancy. Added on to that would be asking, are you a breastfeeding mother? Because you also want to have precaution with dealing with clients who are breastfeeding their child. There's certain peels, certain implements that you should not be using on the client. Next thing you want to confirm is that they don't have any cold sores or open wounds on their skin. Cold sores usually tend to happen around the mouth area, can be highly contagious and can spread if you are doing services on them. So you're going to want to make sure that they are not having any active cold sores or open wounds on their skin that can get infected or spread. The next thing you want to confirm with them is if they have diabetes. Because diabetic patients have things going on with their blood, they have a harder time healing, so as far as like peels and things like that, you're going to want to be more mindful when you're working on someone who's diabetic. Next thing you want to confirm is if they are epileptic or have pacemakers. This tends to be associated with whether you should do any electric implements on them, particularly high frequency or microcurrent, etc. Also, you just want to know, like, if they are epileptic or have a pacemaker and something happens while they're on your table, you know, at least you were aware of the fact before a seizure happens or before a heart, you know, some sort of heart-related thing happens. So it would be good for them to disclose to you whether or not that they have that. And the next thing I do is I ask them this one question that I feel like no matter what it could be, this question is always going to reveal whether or not there's something I need to know about their history that is going to potentially affect the service. So I ask them, are you being treated for any conditions by a physician or a dermatologist? That question, even if I didn't even go through the medical history, that question alone would pretty much narrow down everything that I needed to know. And with this question, you're going to want to ask them about what medications they're on. Perhaps they're on some sort of prescription skin ointment or taking an antibiotic. You just want to know what their doctor has them taking. And I also want to encourage you to not feel like you need to know every single thing about medicine or diseases or illnesses or skin stuff. You're not a doctor, okay? We're licensed estheticians. Really, at the end of the day, we're only working on the top layer of skin, and we wouldn't really administer any crazy treatments until we've worked on the skin more than once. Sometimes when there's like a medication or an illness that I'm not really 100% knowledgeable of, I tell them, I say, you know what, I'm not too familiar with that, but I can go and make sure I research that more. And today we'll just do some basic treatment. We're not going to do anything too stimulating or exfoliating. We're just going to do something gentle. And that's always a good rule of thumb, is if you're not sure what disease or what medication is going to affect what, just go about the service very cautiously. Let's move on from medical history and go into the next series of questions. So I also asked, have you had any facial or dermatology services in the last 14 days? And I put, for example, have you had any facial waxing, laser hair removal, chemical peels, lasers, anything like that? And that, of course, if they had any of those things, you would want to take note of what they got and when they got it. The reason why I say 14 days is typically just from what I've researched with laser hair removal or facials, like usually it's about 2 weeks that they recommend not doing anything to your skin. Waxing, on the other hand, is a little bit less. It's about 3 days before and after a facial that you should avoid waxing. Soft wax versus hard wax, that's a whole other conversation, but typically just put them all in the same bucket and just say no waxing for 3 days before and after. Keep in mind for waxing, the only thing that in my experience so far, and I've made a video on this before, that one of my clients had been taking an antibiotic and hadn't disclosed that to me, and I ended up lifting skin underneath her eyebrow. So just know that when someone's on an antibiotic, there's definitely a possibility that their skin could lift. So that also means when it comes to chemical peels or microdermabrasion, anything that's going to disrupt the skin, you want to be mindful of if they're on antibiotics. So moving on to the next question, I asked, do you have any allergies or sensitivities? And usually, the answer is no, but occasionally I'll get someone who's allergic to sulfur or lavender or something like that. So you definitely want to make sure you know what it is, and also know any sensitivities. Sometimes I get guests who just say, yeah, my skin is sensitive, and I follow up with the question of, okay, if you're sensitive, what are your symptoms? Like what happens? And they tell me, oh, it gets a little irritated, I get little bumps, it's itchy, it's red. Then I know, okay, there's some sort of like ingredient that is disrupting their skin. Maybe they're not even aware of what it is, and you should probably recommend that they get allergy tested. But just know, okay, this person's skin is a little bit more reactive, and so keep that in the back of your mind when you're doing your treatment. Next question is, have you used retinol or vitamin A products in the last 5 days? I always recommend to clients to not use any retinol or vitamin A on their skin right before a facial or even after a facial, because they're going to be very exfoliated. They're, possibly have had a chemical peel. You're not going to want to be putting retinol on your skin right afterwards. So general rule of thumb is 5 days before, 5 days afterwards. Next question is, have you received Botox or filler injections in the last 2 weeks? Depends kind of what area of the face they got filler or Botox. So particularly with Botox, I did ask my guy, and he said don't get Botox 3 days before a facial or 3 days after a facial. With fillers, typically I've heard 2 weeks, but again, it kind of depends where they received the filler. If it was in their lips, I would say there's a bit more leeway with that because we're not really manipulating the lips too much in a facial. But if it's filler like in the cheeks, in the forehead, like anywhere on the face, you're definitely not going to want to perform a facial on somebody who recently got fillers, because you can literally like move stuff around, and you don't want to do that. They're going to be mad and they're going to look weird. So you don't want to be a part of that. So yeah, good rule of thumb is 2 weeks. It could be different. I would always defer to whatever the doctor recommended. And usually they do tell you when you get those things done, like what to look out for and what not to do and stuff. So hopefully people aren't coming in like with fresh fillers all over the face for a facial. But it happens. I had someone who came in and they're like, oh shoot, I totally forgot. Like I just got Botox yesterday. I didn't even think about it. And unfortunately I had to turn them away or offer them a different service. So it's just going to cover you. This is just to like make sure that you're lowering the potential risks of your service, and that everything that happens in this treatment room is your responsibility. So these questions are really going to just help to cover your butt more when it comes to giving clients services. Those are I feel like for me, the key questions that I ask. And hopefully that was helpful for you. Make sure you like this video if you're enjoying it so far. Now we're going to get into what to kind of go over with them as far as the waiver. I used to just kind of put it in front of them and have them scan it and then sign it, but I just feel better knowing that they had verbal confirmation for me. So if say anyone were to come back to me and say, oh, well, I didn't know that. I would rather make sure that I'm verbally confirming with them what they're signing into. So here are some of the key points that I make with them. I say, just know that there are risks involved with this treatment. And you don't need to explain this, but if they ask, you can say, there's always a chance of your skin reacting to new things being put on your skin. Skincare is just one of those things where you could have one super popular product that works for thousands of people, and then there's just that one person that can get that reaction. That could be you, you know? And you don't want to scare them. You could say, you know, it's really more on the rare side, but it's just so that you know there is a potential risk to having things put on your skin. So next would be, there are no guaranteed results. One of my students that I had, she said it really beautifully. I love how she put it. She said, skincare is a journey. Don't expect miracles to happen in one treatment. It's gonna take coming and getting multiple treatments to see more dramatic results. Of course, today you're still gonna have a great glow afterwards, but in order to see those more long-term noticeable changes, you're gonna have to come in every 4 to 6 weeks. And guess what that does? It's setting the tone from the beginning that this is not just like a one-time thing. I mean, you'll get those clients that here and there that just come once in a while for their birthday or because someone bought them a gift card. But if you're trying to build a solid clientele that's going to keep continuing to come back to you, this phrase alone in this waiver is going to set the tone perfectly. Also, it manages their expectations because we're not magicians. Like, we cannot make your wrinkles go away in one service. So it's just setting the expectations correctly. The next thing I say is that it's important to follow all instructions given to you for post-treatment care. Potentially, you know, if they get a chemical peel or you do, you know, certain treatment, you're gonna wanna make sure that they are aware that there could possibly be home care recommendations. So gonna be setting a great tone when it comes to offering them products, because taking home products is gonna guarantee that you're gonna see those changes in your skin. And talking with them about home care, again, is gonna set a really good tone for them to understand that this treatment is going to be great to get every 4 to 6 weeks, but in order to really truly support this treatment, it's very important to follow at-home skincare recommendations. Next and final thing is that signing this means you have given an accurate account of your medical history, knowing that, hey, everything that I provided on this form is true and accurate and current, and I'm giving you full disclosure of everything you need to know. Of course, they're going to sign and print their name. And that is the end of the liability waiver portion. That is basically how I intake my clients. Please, please do not skip this. Yes, I do this every single service. It doesn't matter if they're a first-time guest or a returning guest, someone who's come to me for a year. I go through this waiver with them every single service because you just never know. You never know if somebody goes and gets treated for something within that month that they haven't seen you. They can get Botox, start a new medication, and people honestly just don't think about it. We're the experts here, so of course we're gonna think about all the possibilities. They're coming in here thinking, oh, I'm just gonna get like a nice relaxing service. They're probably gonna, you know, put some soap on my skin. They're not thinking about, oh, like this chemical would not mix with this well, or oh, my condition could affect this. They're not trained to think that way. So we have to be the expert and lead that conversation and make sure that we're keeping them safe. That is our job. Now that we went through the form, I want to run through it with you as if you're a client so that you can kind of hear it all together at once without me making my comments. So let's start over. Take 2. Hi there, are you Stephanie? Hi, I'm Kristen, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. So you're here today for a 50-minute classic facial? Okay, awesome. Just wanted to go over some questions with you. This is the confidential client intake form and liability waiver. Just some questions about your medical history. Can you review these items and just verify for me if you have any of these in your medical history? Okay, well, just to confirm, just to double check, I just want to make sure that you're not pregnant or trying to get pregnant. No? Okay, great. Do you have children? Are you breastfeeding currently? No? Okay, awesome. Do you have any skin conditions that I should be aware of? Like eczema, psoriasis? No? Okay, great. And no epilepsy, heart conditions, pacemakers. All right, and last question. Are you being treated for any conditions by a physician or a dermatologist currently? Are you on any medications? No? Great. And next question is, have you had any facial or dermatology services in the last 14 days? For example, waxing, laser, chemical peels, anything at all? Okay, awesome. Any allergy sensitivities? No? Okay, great. Have you used retinol or vitamin A on your skin in the last 5 days? No? Cool. Have you received Botox or filler injections in the last 2 weeks? No, perfect. Now I just want to review with you what this waiver is saying. Just know that there's always risks involved with a facial treatment. Just getting things put onto your skin, just never know. It's more on the rare side, but I just have to let you know that. Next thing is that there's no guaranteed results. Skincare is a journey. As estheticians recommend getting facials every 4 to 6 weeks. And in order to see those more dramatic and long-term results, you're going to want to continuously come and get treatments. The next thing is that to make sure you're going to follow all instructions given to you for post-care. If we do decide to do a chemical peel or microdermabrasion or something like that, there could possibly be at-home care instructions, and I'll make sure to let you know what those are at the end of the service. Also, signing this means you've given an accurate account of your medical history. Yes? Okay, great. So go ahead and sign and print here. All right. Hey, we did it. So yeah, that is all I have to share with you guys today. I hope it was helpful. Please comment below with any questions that you have. Like this video, please guys, it really helps me to keep growing this channel. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys back here next week on Monday for some new content. And until then, I love you, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.